If LeBron James, regardless of his partners and stuff like that, if LeBron James, who obviously deserves to be an owner in this league someday, Shannon, Big Perk, Molly, if he doesn't get it, look at moments like this as to why that is. You depart from Cleveland to Miami, the way you handled it. You spoke up against the play-in, the way you handled it. There's certain things in terms of player empowerment, the way you handled it. Yesterday, the way he handled it. Make no mistake, fair or unfair, folks are going to remember that. Mark my words.
Now, interesting dynamic with Stephen A. Smith. He was in a very similar situation to LeBron. You could almost say, as far as the morning time with First Take, he kind of built up ESPN to what it is right now, with the hot takes going viral, just sort of the blueprint that every other sportscaster, whether on TV or just online, they're trying to imitate some of the energies that come from that show. But even though Stephen A. Smith kind of built up ESPN as far as content around just the sports broadcast, he was in a very similar fight. He was trying to become the highest paid person on the network while at the same time showing his value. Even though he built it up throughout all these years, he still had to maintain a certain value. So he went out on his own. Now he has his own podcast, he has his own media outlet, and he sort of leveraged that to maintain his status on ESPN as one of the highest paid and most valuable people on the network. And LeBron James is in a similar fight in a way. Even throughout all these years, him just becoming one of the main headlining, just polarizing athletes in the league. It built things up where they're able to cash in on that television revenue, and it increases every single, I would say, 10 years that he's been in the league. But to get the equity stake, it's a different level of just conversation and just finesse. And Stephen A. once again stands 10 toes down on just alluding that the owners behind the scenes are letting them know they're feeling a kind of way about LeBron. And it will affect his chances of ownership. But at the same time, we have to understand the landscape of today with the technology, the way other countries are just tossing money and trying to start leagues of their own. LeBron James still has leverage in a way. The NBA does not want all that cultural capital that they invested into LeBron, marketing him as being the face of the league. They don't want all that cachet to go overseas and formulate a different league that in a way fans could still tune into, especially if it ends up streaming on platforms like Netflix.
And the commitment to excellence that he has clearly had in being in considerable shape and conditioning to be as phenomenally great as he has been in his entire career, being number 2 on the Mount Rushmore of basketball, in my eyes behind everybody but ahead of everybody rather, but Michael Jordan. But he's the same LeBron James that decided to take his talents from Cleveland to South Beach. And former Cleveland Cavaliers owner Dan Gilbert had to find out on the news like everybody else. He's the same LeBron James that I personally will contest has ruined the slam dunk contest and arguably All-Star Weekend. You got people, once upon a time, it was Jordan, it was David Thompson before him, the Connie Hawkins, the Julius Irvins of the world, ultimately the Vince Carters and the Tracy McGrady's and the Kobe Bryants of the world. All stars with an aerial assault to their game participated in the slam dunk contest until LeBron James decided not to be one of those dudes. He wanted to use layup lines prior to games to do all of that, teasing the NBA and its fan base into salivating for him and clamoring for him to be a participant in the slam dunk contest, and he never did it. And then last year happened. You might not remember this. Dr. J. Julius Erving, Larry Bird, guys like that walk in and they want to talk to LeBron James. And when they want to talk to LeBron James, they want to talk to the team, the NBA All-Star team. And LeBron James obviously was one of those guys. And they wanted to talk to them about taking it seriously and putting forth a decent effort and going out there and competing for the fans. And the NBA thought that those guys reached those all-stars inside their soul until they saw LeBron James give the players a side eye. And once that happened, they went out there and embarrassingly allowed nearly 400 points to be scored, playing no defense whatsoever. And what's inexcusable about it, ladies and gentlemen, is that when you are working out in the summertime, playing pickup basketball with your contemporaries, you play harder than these guys play on All-Star Weekend. And they know it. They have ruined All-Star Weekend. I want no parts of All-Star Weekend because of what they've done to the game. The three-point shooting contest is the only contest worth watching. The slam dunk contest ain't worth watching. The new rules that have been implemented in order to try something new and different and make it more competitive, it wouldn't be necessary if you went out there and played with a shred of effort. But they didn't care. And when they look to leaders, just the same way everybody looked at LeBron when it came to playing in the bubble during COVID. Like Patrick Beverly has said back then, let us all stop fronting. Let's stop BSing. We all gonna do what LeBron does. We all gonna do what LeBron wants us to do. We all know it. That's what he said, because LeBron was that kind of leader. And so that kind of impactful individual can go a long way towards doing things where you don't have to worry about load management as much. You're not looking for your next deal the second you sign this deal and all of that other nuance, all those other nuances that come with it. People look at LeBron James. Fear or not, he's to blame in a lot of those owners' eyes. I'm not asking you. I'm telling you. I ain't guessing. I'm telling you what I know.
Once again, when you hear Stephen A. Smith speak like this, he is speaking for the owners. Stephen A. is a company man. You see, with him becoming the highest paid guy on ESPN, it's not just about the sweat equity that he's put in over the last 15 plus years. It's also about the sacrifices that he was also able to make to help out the company that he works for. He talked about taking pay cuts during the pandemic, helping other people on his team as far as salary, doing things outside of the scope of his job in order to support the network. And again, today's landscape is very interesting because the way the technology has empowered guys like Stephen A. Smith to be able to go out on his own and land a deal from Sirius XM, and also LeBron James being able to go out on his own, because make no mistake about it, the way he's in shape, he could end up playing for a league out in the Middle East. And the way they're giving out money, he's going to be able to recruit at least some players with some name recognition that was built up by the NBA. See, the NBA does not want the players that they promoted, those marketing dollars for those guys, to be used by another league. They just picked up all that free advertisement, all that free sweat equity that the NBA put into that player, just becoming that worldwide figure. And that's something that Ice Cube has spoke on with his Big Three league, that the NBA felt a kind of way that guys like Julius Erving and other notable players that they marketed, all of a sudden Ice Cube was picking up the scraps and just getting all that free marketing and promotion for his league. The technology of today makes for interesting times because, once again, LeBron James, just like Stephen A. Smith, they can go out on their own and they can broadcast to anyone around the world, whether it be Netflix, YouTube, etc. The technology is there to gain a worldwide audience from basically any location in the world.
And because that's the reality, when it comes time for him to want to be an owner, and they get to say yay or nay, and even when there are other comparable offers on the table, who's to say they got to pick LeBron James when they can find somebody else? Particularly in this day and age of hedge funds, private equity, etc., when they can pick somebody else. Now, that's not to rule out it being impossible, because all of us should be demanding that LeBron James, if he wants to become an owner and he has the assets and resources necessary to have equity in an NBA franchise, he should be allowed to do that. He's done too much for the game for you not to do that for him. But some of the owners feel otherwise. And when it's time for him to get his comeuppance in any way they can deliver it to him, chances are some of them will. I'm telling you what I know. So when you saw this story about a 5-5 team and LeBron James has nothing to do with this, what Maverick Carter does, that's bad enough for them. Because even though it's not a threat, how dare you support anything that would compromise our bottom line? That's how they'll think.
And how dare you take all those marketing dollars we put into you to make you that global figure and give it to someone else? That's another thing that they can't stand.
And it doesn't even have to be accurate. It'll just be an excuse to have negative feelings towards LeBron, because some owners look for it anyway. Some executives for other teams look for it anyway.
And that's a flaw with a lot of, I don't want to just relate this to the NBA, but a lot of corporations, it's pretty much a flaw that they have with their workers. They don't want you to be too intelligent. They just want you to be intelligent enough for the job at the moment and to benefit the company. But they don't want you to be too resourceful, too crafty. And LeBron James, once again, he has taken the blueprint from guys like Magic Johnson, Julius Erving, Michael Jordan. He's taken those blueprints and just gone to a whole other stratosphere.
He is not the most liked dude in the world. Not in NBA circles. That's just a fact. I'm not saying he did anything wrong. I'm not blaming him. I'm just telling you there are people in very powerful positions associated with the NBA who feel otherwise. I'm not guessing.
And that's because he's a threat. Once again, this is exactly where LeBron James is the GOAT of. Right here. The business side of the game. This is where he is the GOAT of. If you're going to judge LeBron James' GOAT status, to say his greatness is just basketball is disrespectful. This supersedes anything a basketball player can do in the court. LeBron James, in a way, is making sure that the next person who's the face of the league on his level ends up retiring, owning a team, or even being part owner of a different league. That's the standard LeBron James is setting.
I'm telling you what I know. So it would behoove LeBron, if he wants ownership down the line, to try and play nice with some people just to get things done, so he can be the owner of an NBA team. I'm just saying. It's just a suggestion.
One thing Stephen A. Smith should consider is what happens when owning an NBA team is no longer the pinnacle. Once again, with that sovereign money coming into play, and make no mistake about it, those pockets are deeper than anything the NBA could ever imagine. What happens when those sovereign dollars mix in with someone with the cultural cachet of a LeBron James, and also the technology of something like Netflix or even YouTube to a degree?